Um, okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation question and answer session. The Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation is a public sector focused philanthropic organization founded by Aig-Imoukhuede and Ofowe Aig-Imoukhuede with a mission to transform the lives of Africans through a transformed public service delivery and improved access to quality primary health care. The AIG Public Leaders Program is an executive education program offered by the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation in partnership with the Blavatnik School of Government, University of Oxford. This program it's aimed at public sector leaders who are currently at directorate level and who have the potential to lead change in the institutions that they currently work. This session today is to help applicants who are currently applying in the ongoing cycle of the 2022 class to put put in a strong application that helps them to stand out. And we have today with us the head of capacity building at the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation, who will be providing some insights on the application process and step-by-step guide on how applicants can put in their application. And more importantly, she'll also provide some guidance on next steps after applicants have submitted their application. We'll be receiving questions and people have been asking what next after I've put in a quality application. So Modupe Phillips will be here to answer that question. Please let's welcome Modupe Phillips as she provides insights and guide on the application process for the AIG Public Leaders Program and next steps. Thank you. You're welcome, Modupe.
Yeah, hi, Patience. Thank you for having me. And like Patience had introduced me earlier, my name is Modupe Phillips. I'm the head of capacity building at the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation. And just to reiterate on some of the points she noted, the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation is a philanthropic organization that is focused on improving the lives of Africans. And our strategy in doing that is to improve public sector delivery and, of course, improve access to quality healthcare. And we know that to improve public sector delivery in Nigeria, as a case study today, we need to improve on the capacity of the public sector workers currently. And for us at the foundation, we've come up with a number of capacity building initiatives that are supposed to address this issue. And one of the interventions for the capacity building unit is the AIG Public Leaders Program. This is an in-country executive training program that is designed for directors in the public sector today. And part of the requirements for shortlisting is you have to have a minimum of 7 years work experience in the public sector. And of course, a foundational requirement is, yes, this opportunity is open to only Africans. It's not just Nigerians. Let me just correct that notion. This opportunity is open to all African civil servants. You can latch on this opportunity and apply. And I think Patience has actually said a whole lot about what the program is about and what we're trying to achieve. For us at capacity building, we're trying to grow a new generation of public sector leaders because, of course, we understand that reform is at different levels, but we need these public sector leaders to have the capacity to drive and sustain reforms. So that's what we are about at capacity building. We want these people to have the right skills and the right knowledge that they need to drive reform. And we've had our inaugural program, which happened last year, and we had 50 participants, join in that cohort, and they've just recently graduated. 49 of them finished. And for this year's class, we're going to be opening it up, and the numbers are going to increase. We're looking at 100 participants from across Africa to be a part of the AIG Public Leaders Program. So the selection process for AIG Public Leaders Program is multi-staged. And I think it's good I point it out here that yes, it's a rigorous process because yes, we're doing this in partnership with the Blavatnik School of Government, University of Oxford. We are not compromising, on the quality of, candidates that we're going to be selecting for this program. First, it starts with the online applications, which is currently ongoing. And the online applications initially were put out a communication that was going to end April 7th, but we gave out a 1 week extension to the closing date of the applications. So now applications are going to close April 14th. And just like I had mentioned, the requirements that we're going to be looking out for, we're looking out for directors, people in decision making positions, that they can cause change where they work. We're looking out for people that have the minimum years of experience. When we check based on all of this baseline, we're going to be doing a short list, and candidates that meet up with our requirements will be invited to a computer based test. And after the computer-based test, which would most likely take place around first week in May, we're going to be shortlisting candidates again for essay submissions. This will also happen around May, June. So just be on the lookout for our communication. And after the essay submissions, we're going to have the interviews. So it's very important that I put it out there. The hand-to-hand selection process is digital. Everything is going to be online because we're aligned with the aspirations of the head of service of the federation. We're trying to encourage people to embrace technology and embrace digital tools, because we believe these things are actually going to make us more effective. So and we know that the final, so after the interviews, the candidates that make it through that stage will be forwarded to the Blavatnik School of Government, University of Oxford. So the final decisions of those that actually get these slots, to be a part of the program rests with the University of Oxford. So they will be the ones to make the final selection of the candidates. And I think one thing I need to point out here are the endorsement letters. I'm sure you've seen in our communication for those that have started their application that one mandatory document is an endorsement letter. We need an endorsement letter from the head of your ministry, your department, or your agency for them to attest that you're a right fit for the program and for them to also commit to providing you with all the support necessary for you to be a part of the program. The program kicks off in October, and we're going to have a 5 weeks online part of the program, and there's going to be a 2 weeks physical training, most likely in Abuja. So we need you. So that's why we have an end-to-end selection process that is digital, because you need to be, used to handling digital tools, because you're going to be leveraging on that for your training proper. So that's a brief run through really of what the selection process for the AIG Public Leaders Program is about and what you should expect. Thank you, Patience.
Thank you very much, Mudupe, for that intuitive insights that you provided there. That was a very explicit step-by-step guide on what the application process entails for the AIG Public Leaders Program. I think I did not introduce myself the first time. My name is Patience Salami. I'm the head of communications and advocacy for the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation. And here with us today to also share their experiences. I think we can start putting our questions in the comment box. You can put in your questions in the comment box. For our audiences out there on LinkedIn, we see you and we say thank you for joining. You can put in your questions in the comment box. Us two exceptional persons, and they are members of the alumni of the AIG Public Leaders Program. They participated in the inaugural program and being part of the first set. You can imagine they went through a rigorous process, I must say. And they're here to share of their experience and also provide tips on how you can also make your application stand out and be selected for this very, very important program. I think you can start putting your questions in the box, and we'll take them and share with them. They'll respond to them. If you have any specific question or anything you would like to know more about the program, about the application process, are you stuck somewhere? Do you require clarification? these people and also the head of capacity building will be able to respond to all of these questions, hopefully. Kindly make welcome Uchechi. She's an alumni member of the AIG Public Leaders Program. And Mohammed Ahmed, thank you very much. Yes,
Thank
please
you.
kindly introduce yourself. Yeah, Mohammed, please could you introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about your role in the
All
public
right.
sector?
Okay. Thank you very much, Patience. Thank you very much, Matube. And thank you to the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation team for putting this together. My name is Mohammed Shahid Ahmed. I'm currently Chief of Staff to the Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. And as you mentioned, I'm a member of the pioneer cohort of the AIG Public Leaders Program. I'm delighted to be able to share some of my experience here today with you and with all the colleagues that have joined us, hopefully from Africa, to hear about the application process for the program. I'm looking forward to having very, very good conversation over the next hour or so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed, and you're very much welcome. I believe the audience will be learning a lot from you today. Kindly introduce yourself, Uchechi, so that we can, and a bit more into your role in the public sector.
All right. Thank you so much, Patience and Dupe. And I'm glad, really glad to be here. My name is Uchechi Osonwa. I'm an engineer by profession. Currently, I'm the Deputy General Manager and Head of Electronics Communication in the International Airport in Lagos. That's Multi International Airport. I head the department there, and we're in charge of communication, everything communication. When you get into a flight, from the start of the engine to the shutdown, the pilot has to communicate so that you can have a safe flight. That's what we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and you're welcome. I believe the audiences who are connected right now on LinkedIn will be learning a lot from you today. And I know they are putting in their questions, and they want to hear from you. They want you to provide tips for them on how they can put in a strong applications like you did, and you qualify for this program. I know the program is quite rigorous, so for you to be here, it means you really took time to put in your application in a very, very high standard. Um, Mohammed, please could you tell us how you came about this opportunity, the IG Public Leaders Program, and why you decided to apply for this opportunity?
Thank you very much, Patience. So the first I heard about the AIG Public Leaders Program, a friend, former colleague, sent me the brochure for the program and suggested that I should apply for it. She thought I would be a good fit for the program. So I took my time to have a look at the brochure, to do some additional research, not just about the program itself, but specifically about the AIG, the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation, and the Blavatnik School of Government, just to understand what exactly it is that they were trying to address, what the program was trying to address. And I think the core aims of trying to build capacity within the public sector, trying to drive reform by identifying a core group of committed public servants who can go back into their institutions, who can go back to their organizations and implement projects and programs to lead that reform was something that really attracted me. But I think I was also attracted to the opportunity to be part of a network, which I think is one of the strong elements of this program. Being able to connect with peers, not just in the federal public service, but across some of the states that participated. So I think that for me was one of the key things that attracted me to that program. And not just that, but also the reputation of the Blavatnik School of Government and the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation. These are well-respected, well-recognized institutions. And I am sure that anything they put their names and their brands to is something that is certainly worth doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that succinct response. Um, I think I'll move on to Uchechi now, and just tell us how you got to hear about this opportunity and why you decided to apply for it. Is Uchechi with us, please?
All right. Thank you once again, patients. A friend to actually someone and kind of hello. Hey,
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, Chechi.
give me
Kindly
a
carry on.
and I actually was really was back in the days of university, our engineering curriculum, in my opinion, wasn't a holistic one. Yes, we were groomed to be very professional technocrats, but there was no commensurate people leadership skills training. So as I went up the ladder in my organization, I realized I needed to get these skills so that I could effectively lead in those roles. Right. So when I saw the advert or the flyer, I think it was on WhatsApp, I jumped at it because it was an opportunity for me to get, if I call it, officially get some leadership skills and knowledge that I know would be useful for me to make the changes I know it's important in the public civil service. So that's really why I applied. I wanted to improve my skills. I wanted to make sure, if you look through Nigeria, most of our engineering sectors are not manned by engineers, and we need to change that mantra. We need to change that status quo. And if we have a lot of us engineers get the right leadership skills, then we will be able to man our engineering sectors.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very much.
much. Yeah, thank you very much, Uchechi, for that brilliant response. I think we'll just go next. We'll just go to the next question. The next question is for you to share your experience on how the application process went. I mean, during the application, what did you do during the application? How were you able to put in? Did you open up did you log on to the portal, to the application portal, and completed your application in one day, or did you wait for some days? Did you do some research? We would like to learn what the experience was for you during the application, after the application and the selection process. Like how were you able to go through that, and what was the experience like for you? We'd like Mohammed to just respond briefly, and then we'll move on to Uchichi for our response as well.
Yeah, thank you, Patience. I think when Modupe was speaking, she used a word which I particularly like. She used the word rigorous, and I think that is the word that describes the application process for this program. I think anyone that's applying has to recognize that this program is being delivered in partnership with the Blavatnik School of Government, which sits within the University of Oxford. That's an international class institution. So any selection process for you to take part in that program has to reflect that international standard. For me, I wouldn't say that I sat down at the computer and literally within a couple of hours filled in the application. I think it's a process that requires quite a bit of reflection, quite a bit of time. You have to be very deliberate and considerate about the information you are providing. It's a process that has multiple stages to it. There's the initial online application, then you have to do the computer-based test, then you have to submit an essay and a motivation letter, then you have to do a asynchronous interview. So I think it's important across all those different parts of the application process that you are very consistent in the information you're providing. So make sure that what is reflected in your CV, the kind of experiences you've had within your organization as a leader, is also reflected within the essay that you're providing, within the motivational letter you're providing. It's also reflected within the interview, the asynchronous interview that you do. I think the other part of it is being very deliberate about why you're trying to be a member of this program. So for me, what I did was I've always been very interested in looking at behavioral sciences, why people do the things they do, how they decide to do the things they do, particularly because I've spent quite a bit of time working in the anti-corruption sector. It's for me, you have to try and understand why do people fail these tests of integrity that they're often failed with. And it comes down to, how do you behave in that way? So one of the first things that I did was to look at the research that the Blavatnik School of Government is interested in, the kind of research areas that the cohort leaders, the professors that were part of the program were interested in. And particularly when I looked at this, one of the co-leaders of the program is called Professor Kate Orkin. She actually has done quite a bit of research around behavioral science, and that for me really got my interest. As part of the program, you're supposed to discuss and talk about a particular project that you're interested in delivering. And my project that I was interested in delivering was looking at the aspects of behavioral science within an organization and how to strengthen a public organization by looking at how you drive more and better behavior of the staff. So I think for me, is the first element is make sure you do your research. Make sure that you are very, very consistent across your entire application, but also think very deeply about your own motivation for being part of the program. So it's not just, I want to apply for this program because I want to get a certificate from the University of Oxford, or I want to do this program because someone sent it to me. You have to apply to this program because there's a specific goal that I want to achieve for not just myself, not just for the institution I work for, but for the Nigerian public service. If that can come across very clearly through your application process, I think that puts you in a much, much better position. And I think don't be afraid to take your time to do this. The application is rigorous, so don't feel pressured to submit your application 3-4 days before the deadline. Take as much time as you need. Make sure, of course, you submit within that deadline, but make sure that you provide enough time to check and recheck your application. Make sure that you cross all your T's and dot all your I's. And one final thing that I would like to leave you with is the need to make sure that you're having someone else support you through this process. So if you can find someone that you trust, who doesn't actually know about the work that you do, and share your application with that person, share your essay with that person. If the essay and the application makes sense to that person and that person can see it's consistent, then anyone else who's reviewing your application can also better understand what you're seeking to achieve. So for me, these are some of the core elements that probably should be reflected in the application process. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, for those great tips. And I believe the audiences are picking one or two things from this and they will definitely apply it. I know a couple of people have probably submitted theirs, but there are a few more persons still working on their applications and they've learned a few things from them. And you even touched on after the application process, like in terms of the CBT, the next steps and all of that. I think that's also helpful. Thank you very much. I'll just go on to Uchechi now, and I would like to ask you, what do you think the applicants need to do to make their application stand out? Because I mean, for you to have been part of the program, it means your application stood out, and that was why you were in the first place. So kindly share a few tips, on how the applicants can make their application stand out. Thank you.
All right. I'll just start off. Mohammed has actually started sharing some of those tips. But for me, one thing I need every applicant to do is to think. Don't be in a hurry, like he said. Yes, there's a deadline. Make sure you meet the deadline, but think. So one quality I would want us to project is authenticity. Be real, be authentic. Now, there may be some things you've been doing on the side. You don't realize how important it is. Okay, like I'm a freelance writer. I edit for people, just on the side, not for any monetary gain. So those are the little things. So it's an opportunity to sit down and, think it through. What do I want to project? If I were sitting on the other side on the panel and such an essay or the application is brought to me, would I choose this person? Because a lot of funds that the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation is committing to this. So you need to make sure that your application shows authenticity. You need to make sure that your application is concise and, devoid of verbosity. Yes, sometimes we want to write and write and write, but look at it again. There's some words that you could strike off and the meaning is not lost, so that the person reading it, doesn't get bored or gets distracted or off the track. So be authentic in your application. Make sure you project your talents and your skills. It's an opportunity to sell yourself. Why should I commit such a huge fund to you? So that's the question. And make sure that at the end of the day, your application actually paints a picture of a leader in the making. Because the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation and, of course, the Lavanic School of Government want to ensure that they are putting in, the time and the skills and the knowledge to people who would use it. And so there are some bases. So be authentic, like I said, avoid verbosity, be concise, and then project your talents and skills. Even those ones you were doing on the side or you're doing on the side, community development, you're interacting with young people, in your colleagues at the office, the innovative ideas you've brought up, project all of them so that you can actually stand out. I think that's what, and at the end of the day, like I said, paint a picture of the leader in the making. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, that was so on point, and I really, really, I'm sure the participants are learning a few things from this. And sorry, did I say participants? Yes, participants of this session and our audiences on LinkedIn. I mean, we can see a few questions from people already, and we're going to get to them. So don't worry, your questions, we'll try as much as possible to respond to all the questions in the session, but if we don't, we'll definitely respond to them, via the comment section, and we'll ensure that we address every question, that people want answered today. That's the essence of putting this together in the first place. So thank you very much, Uchechi. And I'd like to go back to Mohammed and just ask, are there pitfalls that you think applicants should avoid? Are there things, I know you've spoken about things you think they should include and all that. Are there things you think the pitfalls you think they should avoid? That's what. And then also maybe as part of that, I just want you to also provide a bit of insight into how people can get buy-in from their supervisors. I know Modupe mentioned earlier that getting an endorsement letter is a mandatory requirement for the as part of the application process. Also, even getting support, maybe even getting some time off, to properly concentrate and attend the program is also, a key requirement. So how can people get buy-in? So I think there are two questions. How can people avoid pitfalls, and how can people get buy-in from their supervisors and top officials at their different parastatals?
Okay, so maybe I'll answer your second question first, and then I'll answer the first question.
All right.
So I think in terms of getting buy-in from your organization, I think this is critical. The program itself, once it comes to the actual, delivery of the program, is very, very intense. The period where you're going to be away for the online sessions, for the face-to-face sessions, for the project work, requires you to commit a huge amount of time to get it done. So if you're trying to do that and you're trying to manage the day job at the same time and trying to manage family responsibilities as well, you will very, very quickly become overwhelmed. So I think it's important that you find a way to make sure that your organization carry your organization along, you carry your bosses along through the process. And I think one way to do that is look at the benefit that the program will bring to your organization. So one of the aims of the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation and the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation is how what is learned through this program is shared beyond just the cohort that is selected for the program. So there are opportunities for you to take what you have learned through this program, go back into your organization and share that knowledge with others in your organization. One thing that we picked up from Mr. Aig-Imoukhuede himself was the importance of having a re-entry plan during the last week when we were with him and we had a session with him. So I think, it's important for you as you're entering the program, think about how you are going to re-enter back into your home institution. What are you going to take back to your home institution? And then use that plan to sell the program to the chief executive, to your supervisor, to your boss. So if you can show that there are concrete benefits, I'm going to come back, I'm going to deliver A, B, C, D, that I think is going to happen. I'm going to deliver this project. This is how I'm going to make our organization more effective. This is how I'm going to make our staff more effective. I think the other thing you can do is look at the previous cohort. I think we as a cohort, the pioneer cohort, have been more or less guinea pigs. So you can learn from us. If you can take, for instance, some of the projects, there are 49 projects that have been delivered by this cohort. And some of these, in fact, all of these projects have been very, very innovative. It's things that have not been done in the public sector before. So you could take, okay, for example, the previous cohort did this project. This is how the organization benefited. There's one particular example that I think all of us liked, where one of our colleagues delivered a project which was around recognition and reward for their staff. This is something that you can take to your organization and say, this is the value that the program can bring to this organization. And I'm sure any chief executive will be willing to support that. Now, to come to the pitfalls, I think for me, one of the major pitfalls, and it goes back to Uchechi's point, is about authenticity. Don't be tempted to put in things into your application or say things in your application that you cannot substantiate. Don't be tempted to, I hesitate to use the phrase make up things, but don't be tempted to embellish. For anyone that has, the interest in this program, there must already be a set of work that you have done, things that you have done, which will already stand you in good stead for this program. So don't be tempted to make an application just for the point of making the application. Really, make an application on your own merits. And also, I think another thing is don't underestimate the amount of work that is required to get the application completed. Both Uchechi and I have said there is time. Yes, there is time, but only if you plan yourself and you plan your work effectively. So I think it's important that you recognize that in your application process. And also, I think the final thing I would say is be flexible. You may go into the program, you may go into the application process with a particular mindset about what you want to get out of the program. Trust me, that expectation is going to be challenged. That expectation is going to be blown out of the water. You're going to be exposed to things that you may not have, been exposed to before. So I think be flexible in that process. Be open-minded and willing to learn. Don't think you are you have all the knowledge. Come to it with some humility as well, is something I would say. I hope that works.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, sure. Thank you for that very, very in-depth response. Thank you so much, Mohammed. I think we'll just go on to Uchechi now. So that we're not even, I think Mohammed has really, really spoken along the points of getting buy-in. I don't know if you have any additional points to the buy-in bit, getting buy-in from supervisors and heads of departments, as it were, and the ministries and the various agencies and all. So, if you do you have any additional points to that, as well as just state a few tips on how they can also avoid some pitfalls while making the applications, while putting in the applications. Thank you.
All right. Like always, the manager wants to see what he stands to gain. Yes, I will gain the skills and the knowledge, but how does it impact in his own organization? How does it impact in my department? So when I come, to my boss, I'm going to show him how, yes, I'm the one getting the skills, but he's going to benefit in the long run from it, my organization. And then if there are things, you've looked at your department, there are things, could be improved on. There are some innovative ideas you have. You could actually present that, to project that and say, okay, when I'm able to go for this course, I'll have the skills that would enable us achieve A, B, and C. All right. So I think that's just the quick thing to say. How does the organization benefit from it? Every manager wants his organization to improve. So if I can come with that selling point, then they will always give me my, recommendation or endorsement. And then for pitfalls, Mohammed has actually mentioned quite a lot. But I would also caution the applicants a bit. Please don't be in a hurry. I know we've said that a lot, but don't be in a hurry. Think it through. Be sure you understand the meaning of every question that is asked. An example that comes to mind is there's a part of the application that asks for the activities you're involved in. It's actually outside your work environment. Now, you may be tempted to put in activities that have to do with your core work as a civil servant or a public servant. But what that question is actually asking is, what else do you do? How else do you keep busy? Is there any community service you do? Is there anything outside your work that you do? Because a leader must be able to expand his sphere of influence. All right. So you need to be sure you understand. And then, like Mohammed has said, be flexible, be willing to change position. Like the person that you're, communicating with, and you send maybe your essays to, for instance, and the person reviews it and says, "So why not this or why not that?" Or "I can't understand what you're saying." Don't be quick to defend it. No, you actually are looking at the third eye. Somebody else is looking at it. So basically, that's what I'll just add. Be sure you understand the question and answer it. Don't go outside it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uchechi. These are extremely helpful tips, and I believe the applicants are listening to these, and they would definitely apply them. I mean, I know a couple of them are already responding to say, "Oh, we've already put in our application. We wish this came earlier. We hope to do this earlier next time. I mean, in the next application round, we'll definitely have something similar." Where people can come in and listen to tips and then ask their questions. So we really apologize this is coming at this time, but I know there are a couple of more. There are other people who have probably not started their applications. We encourage you to do so. The application portal is www.Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation /AIGPLP www.Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation /AIGPLP. So you can you can start the application process, click on the apply now button and start the application process. And for those whose applications are pending, useful tips. You can go back to relook, make some edits and adjustments to your application already in progress, and then aim to complete and submit the application on or before 14th of April next week. Thank you very much for this. And I think I have one more question to ask our esteemed alumni members. And the question is just, I mean, you went through the process, even aside the application process, the training itself was quite demanding. In terms of your time and all. Yes, it was enriching, but it was also demanding. Can you just share briefly with us, any new skills that you've learned and how it has impacted on your work even thus far? I know it's quite a short time since the training, but I mean we've been getting loads of testimonials, and I want to believe you also have some testimonials and good reports from this training. So please tell us how the new skills you learned and how they've impacted on your work, as a leader in the public sector. Uche, you want to go first?
Oh, okay. Thank you very
All
much,
right, thank
patient.
you.
I've learned so much, maybe because I knew I needed help. I knew I needed help. I needed to improve on a lot of things. So I was just soaking up a lot, but I'll just mention a few skills. I learned to be a communicator in chief, not a commander in chief. That was one thing that struck me during the classes. How do we communicate? And then I also understood that if I could learn to tell stories, so we have this box of stories, we learned the storytelling skills. And I've tried to bring it in, even at home with my children, not just the office now, so storytelling skills so that you can pass on a message. All right. People tend to listen more that way. And then as a communicator in chief, I need to learn to listen. There are always other perspectives to an issue, not just mine. So if I want to have a holistic view of an issue, for instance, I must learn to listen to others and then put it all together. So we learned that, in my decision making, it's improved because I realized that, oh, I have a bias already, so you're looking at your decision and making sure that, oh, there's no bias that it's making me take a wrong step. All right. So that has also helped me. And then another thing that I can say has helped me is the fact that you need to work as a team, bringing in stakeholders, getting people involved. What I actually started doing, like in my department, it's not the usual in public service, but I have a team that we call ourselves, I call them thought leaders. So I have a thought leaders forum, and it was after the training or during the training that came to my mind, because when we had the one-on-one with Christone, I remember asking him a question. I said, please, I just became a head of department. How do I become the leader I should be? And that was what he told me. He said, look, learn to lead through people. I can't forget that. So that was why we now created the Thought Leaders Forum, where, we get views to issues and tackle it well before we bring it out. So those are the things I've learned, and there are lots of. I've also improved in my writing. Even the application process actually, made me realize that, oh, okay, Uche, you can actually write. It was a good experience for me. So I've improved in my writing, because when I write, I look at it again and ask myself, am I communicating, or am I confusing my audience? So there are loads of things I've actually learned, loads of skills. But I think, please permit me to add this, even though it's not like a skill, but this program actually gave me access to world-class, forward-thinking mentors. I'm so happy about it. And then it also gave me, a community of like-minded people. The cohort one, they are amazing thought leaders. It's so I needed to bring in that. So please, make sure you do this application very well and get on the train. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, Mohammed, do you want to share with us your own experience from the program itself and the skills you've learned and how they've impacted on your work so far as a leader in the public sector?
Yeah, sure. Happy to add. I think Uchechi has given probably the best answer. All I can say is I agree with her points. And I think the last point she made about the network is, for me, one of the principal things that I really, really value out of this. There are 49 of us across different organizations. Like literally just sitting in the room with these 48 other individuals, you can see that all of us have pretty much the same mindset when it comes to things like integrity in public service, about decision making in public service, about the need to bring in new innovative technology tools. All of us, almost with one mindset, were flowing in that direction. And I think it's really reaffirming when you are in the public service, which can be very, very challenging in this context, to find others who share the same vision, the same views as you. And I think the opportunity for us to reinforce each other is one of the things that I really have valued coming out of the program. In terms of the actual program itself, I think definitely the issue of communication and how you can more effectively communicate is something that I think all of us will probably reflect as one of the values that we have taken. I think making sure that you're communicating, but you're understanding the impact of what you're communicating on others. You're understanding how what you're telling other people is going to land with them. Understanding not just your bias, but the biases that other people hold, I think is something that I really, really valued from the program. And then I think one of the other sessions that I think all of us really enjoyed, we had a specific focus on integrity in the public service. As looking at how you make decisions. I think for all of us, once it comes to a good decision versus a bad decision, it's easy to make the good decision. But when it comes to choosing between two bad decisions or two even worse decisions, you have to find some way of making that or choosing an option. And I think some of the sessions, particularly those sessions where we listen to each other, so each of us had to describe a particularly complex situation where they are faced with the choice of two not very palatable options and how they work through those situations, really helped me in terms of, for myself, thinking, okay, these are some of the issues I need to consider when I'm faced with situations where you need to make the most optimal. You have to pick the most optimal choice, even though none of them are very, very good choices. So I think those for me would be the key things I picked up during the program.
All right, thank you very much. That was extremely insightful. And I'm sure the attendees of this program are already like, I can't wait for my applications to get through so that I can also learn this very, very insightful things. I mean, the module is extremely rich, and I'm sure they can't wait. So right now we'll just go to take some of the questions. I know, but the attendees are already like, are we not going to take our questions? Are we just going to be here, and all that? So we'll take them. I think one of the questions that keeps coming up is it possible to go back to edit an already submitted application? I think the head of capacity building can help to respond to that.
So unfortunately, you're unable to go back to edit a submitted application. The only thing you can do is, because of course we had to extend the submission date for endorsement letters. So that's the only thing you can basically go back to your profile to do. So if you had not submitted your endorsement letter, you'll be allowed to upload your endorsement letter after applying. So, but unfortunately, you can't go back to edit the details already submitted.
Okay. I think someone here is also asking. I think maybe to be good, someone is asking about the eligibility criteria around directorate level, and is asking, can that come to about the person is asking, can that come to about, is it 12, level 12? So maybe it's good to clarify in terms of level, what level is allowed.
Well, so like I said, we didn't just design AIG Public Leaders Program because we wanted to design a training program for public servants. But the underlying fact remains that we're actually trying to support reform in Nigeria today, and in fact across Africa. And the best approach to doing that will be to quickly empower those in the position to influence the change that we want to see. So that's why, and because the slots compared to the number of public servants we have, just even referring to Nigeria alone, compared to the number of public servants that are working presently, there are thousands of them. And these slots are minimal. At least it's just now that we've increased it to 100. So would rather, I think, for a start, still target those, are in directorate levels, people that we know that in the next 3 7 years they can take some serious decisions. They can make some serious decisions that's going to impact the public sector as a whole, compared to maybe a junior officer that will still take a while to get to the kind of position that we were looking forward to, these people getting to. For instance, like Mohammed rightly mentioned, there's some fantastic projects that came out of, a program that we ran within the space of 6 months. There's the NTA app. Of course, most of us have an idea of how NTA has been running over the years, but you can imagine empowering one candidate from PLP and was able to come up with a fantastic idea where you can access NTA from anywhere in the world. So those are the kind of reform initiatives we need to happen in the public sector as soon as possible. So that's why for now it's limited to just people in the directorate level. So I hope you understand, why that has been
Thank you.
set up.
I hope the person understands too, but I'm sure the person asking really wants to be part of it. But
Don't worry. Keep trying,
apologies,
keep
this
trying.
is yes. So we hope that this program will be ongoing in the next couple of years. So hopefully you'll get to the point where you're able to also take advantage of it and participate in the program. I think we have another question here around letter of recommendation. The person is asking if it's compulsory to bring a hard copy to the office, if they have to come with a hard copy submitted at the head office, or if they can upload it onto the platform.
Oh
I think you
yes.
already mentioned
Yeah, you
earlier
can
that
upload on the
yes.
platform. If it's not going to be convenient sending a hard copy, you can please upload on the platform. That's fine.
Right. And I think the person was also worried, like, oh, I've already submitted an application. Can I still upload it? I think we mentioned that already. They can upload
So
the recommendation.
especially for those that, but the truth is, between now and the next stage of the application process, which will most likely happen at the end of this month for me, everyone that's been selected to be a part of that particular level of the selection must have sent their endorsement letters, because we had received tons of requests from some people that, oh, their endorsement letters are on the way. So that's why we had to give them that grace. So between now and say the end of April, we expect that all the endorsement letters are submitted.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. I hope people will take advantage of this grace period that's been given for the endorsement letters. I think another question here, it's around like some technical glitch some people are experiencing. So someone here is saying that they've submitted the application, however, and it says that their profile, sorry, was okay, application which was received according to the information on my profile. However, I keep receiving emails requesting that I should complete my application. So I don't know if you have any response to that, or should this person send a personal email after? Because I know we have an email. Okay, I know we have a platform where you can send your emails and send your inquiries to, which is info at Aig-Imoukhuede
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have any quick response to this at the moment, or should the person reach out personally so
So
we can
yeah, I
investigate
think
that?
like you said, it might be maybe an oversight from those handling the emails going out. So I think it's best to still send a quick email, explain the situation via email so we can double check, with our database to be sure that you've actually submitted your application. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. So please, you can send an email to info at Aig-Imoukhuede I think someone is asking something around the CBT tests. Um, I'm trying to locate the question around the CBT. Sorry, excuse me. Okay, it says, what are the expectations or requirements of the computer-based tests? What are the expectations or requirements? I know you touched on that briefly earlier when you gave some insights. So maybe you want to expatiate on it.
Well, so it's actually not too difficult. It's just you're just going to be some working on a set of analytical questions. It's just for us to just have a feel of how you reason on with regards to certain questions and all of that. I really can't divulge too much information with how the CBT tests will run. But the first things first is, of course, we're trying to test your analytical reasoning. So let's leave it at that. Then if you're selected for the process, when you get there, you meet it.
Okay. So yeah, I think a couple of thank you very much for that, Modupe. Um, Okay, so I think a couple of people, almost 5 or 6 persons here, are saying they've submitted the applications that they are getting these emails that said they haven't. Could it be as a result of the endorsement letter? Because I don't know, but I mean, we've already said they should send an email, right? So maybe they should send the
Yes,
email
the
so that
email
it
will
can be
work because a
investigated.
number of people have submitted their applications without endorsement letters and there was no issue.
All right,
So for
thank you
those that are
very
experiencing issue, maybe because of the traffic that we're currently experiencing, a lot of people are trying to put forward their applications because of the deadline. So they should just send a quick email and we would look into it.
All right. Yes. So I think So excuse me, I'm trying to just filter and be sure that we've addressed all the questions. Okay, someone is saying they need to add more professional qualifications to the application. I don't know if that's a question or a comment, but I will just leave it at that. Someone says advice that where an applicant is picked for the course and his headquarters delay the endorsement letter due to bureaucratic procedures, allow the person to use your letter of approval to him to use and facilitate prompt release of the endorsement letter. I mean, do you have anything to add to this endorsement letter thing? Like, how can people facilitate the timelines, of getting this endorsement letters from their supervisors and heads of departments? Is there anything that can be done? Is there a way? Does the foundation provide like a facilitation letter, or is the brochure sufficient for that purpose?
Yeah, in fact, thank you, Mohammed, for that suggestion. So there was a secular, because we have a partnership, we have an existing partnership with the Office of the Head of Service. And the Head of Service, Dr. Folashade Yemi, she was kind enough to, approve the publication of a secular to this effect. So I think what's going to be easiest for you is just go on the OHCSF website, or you can even ask via email, send an email to info at Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation. I can send you a copy of that circular. So that can also help with your conversations, in your conversations with your boss. And we have a number of materials online on our YouTube channel. We're going to have this material from this LinkedIn session. We have video interviews that we did with some of the members of the alumni and the teaching assistants. So I think this will help, convince your supervisors. Unlike the pilots group that didn't even have any of these materials. So there are a ton of materials already on our YouTube channels that you can always refer your supervisor to watch, and let them see for themselves the kind of benefits the organization will be getting if they allow you participate in this program. So
All right. Thank you very much, Modupe, for these wonderful responses. I don't know if any of the panelists, if any of the alumni member have anything to add to some of the questions, like the endorsement letter. I know Mohammed suggested the OHCSF circular. I don't know if we have anything else to add to some of these questions.
Can
Thank
I
you.
go?
Oh, sure. Why not? Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. I'm actually trying to find. I'm trying to find why to get the letter. Direct boss. You understand? The letter must not be gotten from the chief executive of the organization. Like I work at the airport. There is an general manager in charge of the airport. He was the one that gave me a letter of endorsement because he can actually testify to my work ethic because I'm working direct under his supervision. So maybe people are finding it difficult because they want to go to the chief executive to be able to get the letter. Please, you can get the letter from your general manager of your department or the director in charge of your directorate. So it shouldn't be that difficult, I think. So about probably is because they want that far. They need to understand that they can actually get a letter from their direct boss, the head of the department, or the head of the station, or the director. I think help.
Well, thank you very much for this useful tip. Um, Mohammed, do you have any additional tips to provide or advice on how people can get their endorsement letters or buying from their heads of departments and supervisors?
No, I think Modupe has talked about the circular from the head of service of the federation, which I think is this is official government communication, so that should help to facilitate some of the action within the organization. And we've talked extensively about demonstrating the value of the project, but I think it's just about being as persistent as possible as you can. Really just keep on going and speaking to your boss, to your GM, to your head of department. Once they are committed and they can see that there's benefit to be had from this, they will. I am optimistic that anyone will be able to support this process as well.
All right, thank you very much. And I think I just want to add that in addition, there's a brochure on the website. There's a link to download the program brochure. So that could also serve as an evidence, just showing them what the program entails and how much value it can add to the organization, as a whole. So the link to download the brochure is on the landing page where you click to apply now. So it's still on www.Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation /AIGPLP. Thank you very much. I think some people are asking if the video will be available after this session. Yes, like right on LinkedIn, the videos will not go away. You'll find it there, so you can actually revisit. You can replay and listen to these tips over and over again. And I just want to add that for those Okay, and I was told it will also be on YouTube. So for those who are experiencing any form of technical glitch or receiving emails about an uncompleted application when you fully submitted your application, kindly send an email to info@Aig-Imoukhuede and we'll respond to all of your questions. In fact, let me give you a free ticket now. I hope the head of capacity building will endorse this. Just say you were part of this, say you are an attendee in this session, and we'll respond instantly. We will respond instantly to your inquiries. I hope we have endorsement for that as well. But thank you very much. I really want to appreciate every one of us for joining this session. Thanks to the head of capacity building of for the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation, Modupe Phillips. Thank you very much for the insights and for everything. I mean, she's been working so hard to ensure this program is running and is running according to global standards. Thank you very much. And I want to especially thank our esteemed alumni members. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be part of this, and thank you for all the tips and insights provided. It's been helpful. Thank you very much. And I would just like to ask if we have any last words or any last tip you want to leave with the attendees before we go. I think we're already it's already time. The time is up for this, but if you have any last words in a few seconds you can share before we leave.
Okay, so I so this is actually a once in a lifetime opportunity, and if you feel you're eligible for this program or you know someone that's eligible for this program, I would ask that you share the information of this program with them and let them be a part of this capacity building drive that's currently ongoing. And like Mohammed rightly mentioned, beyond the training, you have access to a world class faculty, you have access to an alumni network, not just in Nigeria, but globally. So you have help available to you as you do your change projects, as you facilitate your reform projects. So I think this is actually an excellent opportunity for any public servants out there, that's aspiring for change, in the public sector. Thank you very much. Thank you so much to the alumni members and patients for moderating such a wonderful session. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And please do well to follow the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation across the different social media channels. If you're not following us on LinkedIn, kindly click the follow button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We're social and we are on all these platforms. So please follow us for updates. I mean, and you can also send your inquiries to our social media channels as well, and we'll be more than willing to respond to them. Thank you very much, and thanks to our um, alumni members once again, and to our wonderful head of capacity building. Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for attending the session. And I hope it was helpful and it's useful. Thank you very much to everyone. And once again, this opportunity is open to um, public servants who are currently in directorate level across Africa. So it's not just open in Nigeria, but across Africa. So public servants in Ghana, in Kenya, South Africa, you're invited to apply for this opportunity. And the link again to apply is www.aig-imoukhuede.foundation/AIG Again, I'll take that www.aig-imoukhuede.foundation/AIGPLP. Thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Goodbye.